Hey everybody, it's Brian from Witch Doctor. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. I was doing some seating force testing with my AmPress here earlier today, looking at some different lubricants for the inside of the necks and on the bullets. More of that testing to come here. I'll publish the results of that here later. But I had a little bit of variability on one of the particular lubes. For 5 out of the 20 cases that I lubed were way outside of the sort of standard, multiple standard deviations away from the average, basically, which kind of is a little bit weird. Anyways, but I thought, well, maybe the powder column, inside the bullet, I'm running 29.9 of N133 in these 6 ppc cases. So, the powder column gets pretty high up there in the case. Once you're running about, 29.9, it's probably about halfway into the case, into the neck. And then, of course, the bullet that I'm running, I took a look at it, and, that is going down a little more than halfway into the neck there. So I thought, well, maybe something is going on here where, the powder column on some of them are just higher, and that's causing, that a little bit of last minute overall seating force that I was seeing in the curves. Anyway, so what I did is, just to do a quick test, I took 5 pieces of brass, all the same pieces of brass, and 1 bullet, the same bullet that I used for the testing that I just mentioned. And I gave all the brass a fresh coat of Neolube 2, which is the lubricant that I've been using, and went ahead and seated this bullet into each piece of these 5 brasses, and I pulled the bullet afterwards with the PMA tool. This is a really handy bullet pulling tool. It makes the job a lot easier, a lot quicker. And with no powder in there, you can see that's the orange curves here. No powder is the orange, and seating force overall was, somewhere around 18 to 25 or so, but all the same curve as when I loaded these with 29.9, used the same bullet. And that's the green. You can see the same pattern, same overall kind of on average force. And by the way, after I removed the bullet and removed the powder, I did resize the necks, and I did give a fresh thing of Neolube so that every single condition here was the exact same, with the exact same neck diameter, exact same amount of Neolube in there. And then basically went ahead and looked at no powder, 29.9, which again, 29.9 is getting about, a little more than halfway up that neck. And then I did 30.2, where that's getting really high up in the neck. I mean, I don't want to say it's overfilling, but, you can kind of see, it's pretty high. I think there was probably a little bit of compression going on with this bullet, because as you saw earlier, it is a little more than halfway into the neck. So, I was thinking the 30.2 is probably going to produce some compression. But actually, that's the darker green, and you can see it kind of all just fell into the same pattern of curve and the same overall force. So it seems like even with running, kind of the powder column up a little bit high and having that bullet probably pushing down on it a little bit, didn't really change the sort of overall seating force. One other thing that I mentioned, or that I observed that I want to mention, is the testing that I will publish here soon, that I've been working on right now. I put the Neolube 2 in and left the cases out overnight. I used a different lubricant, which I'll show in a video here in the future. Left those cases out overnight. But when I went to go seat the Neolube bullets, the seating force was a lot higher than this. The seating force was kind of in the average of around 35 in terms of terminal force. But you can see here where I gave the bullets, where I gave the brass cases a fresh thing of NeoLube, the terminal force, was kind of on average around 20. So I think there's an effect of like having a fresh coat of NeoLube too, where the fresh coat gives the sort of lower level of terminal force. But if you sort of leave it out, I left it out overnight, so probably 12 hours or so. The terminal force was definitely a lot greater. It was at 10 pounds greater overall. So there's some kind of effect between a fresh coat and leaving them out overnight. Typically, I do fresh coats, and I get this kind of curve profile where, the average seating terminal force is around 20. You see a little, high level seat, and then it kind of levels out, and then as it finally seats, you get this nice straight curve. But I definitely use fresh coats, but after leaving these out at night, overnight, looking at the terminal force being at least 10 pounds greater on average, that tells me I think you need to use fresh coats of this stuff. And by fresh coat, I mean coating the inside, letting it sit for 2 to 5 minutes to dry. It dries quick, but I'm in a high humid environment, so I give it at least 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and then prime it, and then charge it and seat your bullet, and that's, I think, how you're going to get this nice low level of terminal force with really smooth curves that are very consistent. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Just thought that was interesting to note that doesn't look like, powder column, in terms of using a stout load and using a bullet that's seated pretty low in there is a super big deal or any deal at all with terminal seating force. All right, take care, everyone, and please visit my Patreon. That's where I post a ton of these kind of little tests that I run on the side to sort of check things to see, what's having an effect on what. Definitely will be posting the results of, this different lubrication that I'm looking at in terms of inside the neck and on the bullet. But I do a ton of stuff on Patreon. So please come over there and become a patron. I'd appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye.